So I firmly believe that this is one of the best finger picking songs to learn first. It's definitely the one I learned first. And the reason is it makes you feel like a really cool and a really good guitar player. It's also a song that a lot of people recognize once you start playing, and that song is Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. Now it has a very particular picking pattern which we're going to go over step by step in this. You'll notice that I do have a capo on the 3rd fret. You are going to need that for this song. That's how they play it, and that's how we're going to play it here. So I'm going to show you this picking pattern. So we're going to be mostly using our thumb, our first finger, and our second finger on our finger picking hand. So if you're a righty, that would be your right hand. If you're a lefty, that's going to be your left hand. So let's start off by just talking about the chords first. All right, so the chords we're going to be using in this song, the verse is going to be a C chord. It's going to be this G/B kind of chord here. And I'll show you that transition that I just did. So you can see I'm using my second finger here and my pinky. Now for some of you that might be weird, but there's a reason we're doing it this way. It's because it's going to make it very easy to just transition right into that A minor chord. So let's go back to the C chord real quick. So I've got a C major chord. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up my 3rd finger, just bring the 2nd finger up 1 string. So now the 2nd finger is on the 2nd fret of that A string, and then the pinky is going to come down on the 3rd fret of the B string. Now for those of you that aren't used to using your pinky a lot, you're like, Lauren, could I just do it this way with the 2nd and 3rd finger? You absolutely could. The great thing about doing it this way, if you notice, my first finger is still down. I haven't lifted it up. Because this finger, the pinky, is covering that string. So it means I can basically leave my first finger and rotate around it as I'm switching between these chords. It's also good, you know, if your pinky is your weaker finger, it might be a good opportunity to work on that. But yes, you could go from C to your 2nd and 3rd finger. That's totally fine as well, totally acceptable. And then into the A minor. But I like doing it this way, C, bring the pinky in place, and then rotate into the A minor. So that's our verse chords. Now our chorus, we have a G chord. We kind of have a little walk down, so we're kind of doing this G/F sharp. Okay, so basically it's a G chord, and then we're moving our first finger just up. I'm muting the A string, but when we get into the finger picking pattern, you'll see why that doesn't matter so much. Okay, and then we're coming into an E minor chord, and then we hop back into C, G/B, A minor, and we have this interesting D7 chord that I'm going to show you when we get to the chorus. So first let's talk about the picking pattern here. So this is an 8th note picking pattern, and the timing is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And on the 1, 2, 3, 4 is always our bass note. So we're going to be alternating our bass note between 5 and 4, just like this. So I'm on a C chord, and my thumb is just going 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. What's going to happen is we're going to put notes in between those bass notes. So I'm going to refer to it as thumb, 1, 2. Now, if you're learning traditional, classical style finger picking, you'll often see these referred to as P-I-M. Okay. There's some Latin terms and I don't know what they are off the top of my head, so I do thumb 1, 2, but also understand it is P-I-M if you're familiar with that notation as well. So if you just want to practice rotating through the chords, we have C, we're going to be going 5 and 4 over and over. 5, 4, 5, 4. Okay, and all of these chords are 5-string chords, so we're not going to be doing anything different. So if you go to G/B, still 5, 4. And the same thing for A minor. Okay, so no matter what you're doing, it's going to be 5, 4 on the verses. All right, when we switch to the chorus, we're going to be doing something different. Now we're going to throw some notes in between. These are where our other 2 fingers are going to come in handy. So as I said, our thumb is having strings 5 and 4. Our first finger owns string 3, and our second finger owns string 2. All right, so we have the G string and we have the B string. Okay, and the first part of the pattern is going to be thumb 1, thumb 2. Okay, so just try that. Thumb 1, thumb 2. Okay, so we have that alternating bass pattern. Thumb 1, thumb 2. Okay, so those notes are going in between the bass notes. So it's thumb 1, thumb 2. Just try that with me. Thumb 1, thumb 2. thumb, 1, thumb, 2 on your own. So that's the first half of the pattern. The second half of the pattern is going to be thumb, 1, thumb. Okay, so we're not playing the 2 the second time. All right, so it's thumb, 1, thumb. So if we put both of those together, it is thumb, 1, thumb, 2, thumb, 1, thumb. Again, thumb, 1, thumb, 2, thumb, 1, thumb. One more time. Thumb, 1, thumb, 2, thumb, 1, thumb. All right, if I play it a little bit more to speed, it's going to sound like this. Okay, it's already sounding like Landslide, right? So very, very cool picking pattern. So I would sit on that just for a little bit just to get the feel for it, because once you can do that on the C chord, guess what? You just now played the entire verse, because all you would do is switch your chords. Thumb, 1, thumb, 2, thumb, 1, thumb, and then A minor. Thumb, 1, thumb, 2, thumb, 1, thumb, and now we go back to G/B. Repeat that chord progression over and over. So the chord progression is going to be C, G/B, A minor, G/B, C, G/B, A minor, G/B. Okay, so that's going to be the chord progression for this over and over again. So if we just take it very, very slowly, okay, let's work through that. So we go, all right, let's take it nice and slow. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, 1 thumb, 2 thumb, 1 thumb, thumb, 1 thumb, 2 thumb, 1 thumb. Again. One more time, ready? Right, and that's how we play our verses, okay? So just that chord progression over and over and over again until you get to the transition into the chorus. So this is where we're going to have some new chords come in, and we're going to change our picking pattern very, very slightly, okay? So what's going to happen is when we come through, we're going to play our C, G/B, okay, we got to A minor. What we're going to do is we're going to play a D7 chord. But it's not going to be traditionally the way you would play a D7 chord. Usually a D7 chord is a 4-string chord. What we're going to do is, see the third fingers on this bottom note here on the high E string? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take this note and we're going to put it on the low E string. So how are we going to do that? From this A minor chord, we're going to leave the first and third fingers in place, and we're going to take that second finger and just plop it up on the top. So we get this F sharp note. Don't worry about muting this 5th string. That's okay. We're not even going to play that 5th string, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so just for that motion, it's going to be a C chord, the G/B, A minor. Okay, so why do we do that? Because now you can hear. Get that nice ringing of the bass note, and that's what we want on these finger picking songs. We want these bass notes to come through. So what's the picking pattern we're going to use for these 6-string chords? Let's take a G chord first, okay? So it's the same picking pattern, except our thumb is going to be alternating between 6 and 4, okay? So the C chord, all those other chords, it was 5 and 4. Now it's going to be 6 and 4, okay? Just like this, okay? So you're going E string, D string, back and forth. But the pattern in between is the same, okay? So it's going to be, okay, thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb. that's going to be the pattern. Now let's take that a little bit slower on this G chord. So it's going to be thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb. So it's 6th string, 4th string, 6th string, 4th string, okay? So we're still doing that same motion. And it's going to be the same thing for the next chord, this F sharp or G/F sharp-ish chord, okay? And then we have E minor. Now, after we do that, the first 3 chords are 6-string chords. We have the C chord, and then we have the G/B chord, we have the A minor chord, and then we come back to the D7 chord. So if I take this from the chorus, just to show you the progression and how it works, we have this is the very last line of the verse. We have the C chord, okay, G/B, A minor, here's D7, so we're switching to 6th string here, and then right into a G chord. There's the F sharp, so how we did that, again, remove the 2nd finger, just move this 1st finger up 1 string. Don't worry if you mute the A string, we're not even playing it, we're skipping right over it. Okay, then we got E minor, and then we have C, G/B, A minor, back to D7. Okay, and right there, if you heard it, I actually played the wrong picking pattern. But the great thing about these 8th note picking patterns, I played the wrong fingers in the wrong order, but if you just keep playing, it's not going to sound bad if you accidentally hit the wrong note if you use the 2nd finger instead of the 1st finger or the 1st finger instead of the 2nd finger. It's not going to matter as long as you keep that bass going, okay, and you keep the timing and the rhythm. Most people aren't going to notice. So let's go through that transition again. So we have our C chord, thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb, G/B, A minor, here's to D7. You can see I'm thinking, and now G chord, G/sharp, E minor, and then C, G/B, A minor, and again, because I'm going very slow. It's very actually harder for me to go slow than play this fast. So sometimes I'm accidentally playing the 1st finger instead of the 2nd finger, but it still sounds good because we're using that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And as long as you keep the tempo, you're going to be perfectly fine. All right, so what I'm going to try to do here is just do a little bit of a play along with you so that we can go through a little bit of an intro, a verse, and a chorus for you to have something to play along and practice with. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. I took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the season of my life? Ooh. Here comes the D7. Well, I've been afraid but time makes you bolder, and children get older, and I'm getting older too. Again, if you take a listen through, you're going to hear I did make some little changes to the picking pattern, but the key is keep going, keep the timing, keep going, and it's very, very hard if you don't know this picking pattern inside and out to play and sing at the same time. Because if you're thinking about the count, which was kind of what I was doing because I'm so used to playing it a different way with a different timing, I was thinking about it a little bit, and it trips you up when you're thinking. So for a song like this, I would just sit on the picking pattern until you've got it ingrained, and then you can try singing and playing at the same time. If you're thinking about the pattern, you're not going to be able to sing this and play this at the same time. You're really going to have the pattern ingrained in your head. Now, if you want to know the pattern that I usually use when I play this song, I highly recommend you go check out my Travis picking lesson right over there. It's a really great pattern you can use on songs like this, Dust in the Wind, Blackbird. You can use it on lots of songs. Very, very useful. Go check out that lesson right over there.